Welcome to Holiday Marketing Prep. I am recording this in October of 2024, but don't worry, everything that I'm sharing is evergreen and you can just come into this when you find it. Maybe you're finding it in July, maybe you were finding it at the beginning of December. The best thing to do is to watch the whole training and then go back through and pick the pieces that are going to work for you right now, wherever you are, because it's never too late to start. It just depends on how much time you have to devote to it and how fast you have to go. So this is the overview. I'm going to do a little bit of an intro. We're going to talk about holiday marketing 101, a little bit about email marketing, a little bit about social media, and a little bit about your website, mostly because I don't know your business. I don't have your backstory. I don't know where you are in your business. So I wanted to include a place where these are some really important things that you should know, even before we get into all of these other things. So this goes 9 weeks before the end of the year. So ideally, you're starting this somewhere at the end of October or the very beginning of November. But again, depending on where you are, this is all going to be helpful for you. It just depends on where you land and how you can utilize it. So again, I'm recording this in October of 2024. This year, depending, again, it might be different when you do it, but in October of 2024, we have a really short holiday season because Thanksgiving actually falls here on the 28th, and then we go into Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and then straight into December. And there usually is a week here that is usually a really good kind of pause break between the holidays, but we don't have that this year. So it's a little bit different, and we just have to know that. So as I am going through this, you might think, well, you didn't talk about this or you didn't answer these questions. That's because one, I don't know your business, but also this is accelerated. This is designed to get you up and into your marketing as fast as possible so that you can start getting results, so that you can start promoting. There's going to be nuance and deeper planning that is going to be missed. That's just the way that this is. I'm really going to encourage you to reuse, repurpose, and recycle wherever you can. Nobody is going to care that you used a post that you used last year. Just make sure the date is correct and you're good to go. The first couple of weeks in this planning calendar is more intense because my goal is as we get closer to the actual holidays, you're going to have time off. You're going to have maybe travel. You're going to have time off with your kids. You're going to, maybe do family things. So I don't want you to have to be up at night, scrambling to get this done. So the first part of it is much more intense. And then it evens out as we get closer because more things will be done. That's on purpose. This is also, again, I don't know your business. So this is going to be more general than what I would do in a one-on-one consulting session. And not everything that I share is going to apply to your business. So if you have questions, go ahead and leave comments and I will try to come back to them. If you would like the slide deck and the recording and the workbook, I'm going to set it up so that you can join my email list and I can send that to you. That's just going to be the easiest way to do that. One of the things that's really common, and I know that I've done this myself, is I have watched trainings, I've made tons of notes, and then I've never actually implemented. I'm going to say this with all the gentle love in the world. You have to implement this to work. It's not going to be as effective if it just sits in a notes file on your computer. So as we were talking about this kind of marketing, especially because the holiday marketing period is so short, there's so much to do. There's such a push. There's so much visibility. For a lot of people, it pushes us outside of our comfort zones. That's okay. It might bring up some big feelings. It might bring up some imposter syndrome. That's okay. You're going to have to tell those feelings to go sit in the corner while you work and they can come back and talk to you later. But this is a really heavy promotional time. And there's just no way around that, unfortunately. You are going to have to risk being annoying to get your message out there and to get sales. If you don't post about what you do, if you don't share what you do, if you don't do it often enough that people can act on it, you're not going to get sales because they're not going to know what you're doing. This is also a really temporary time. You're not going to have to send this many emails or post as often as I am suggesting forever. This is a brief period of holiday promotion. It is just the way things set up. Don't assume that somebody saw your social media post or watched your entire video or even read your email all the way to the end. That's why we're doing it more than once. That's why we're showing up and saying, hey, hi, I'm here over and over again so that people can remember who you are and you're showing up in front of them when they are ready to make a purchase. You do just have to assume that your audience is busy. There's a lot going on and there's probably some things that they're going to miss. That's completely fine. So as we go into the holiday season, I really think it's important to think about how people are shopping and what they're looking for so that you can connect with them better. Think mobile first. So think about shopping from your phone um, rather than from your computer because most people are shopping from their phone. If your website is confusing or doesn't load very well on mobile, that's going to be a problem. Video converts. This is something that we've been seeing for a long time, but also really great photos make a huge difference. And if you're a small business, I know that it can be really frustrating seeing those Amazon deals and all of the like the massive Black Friday discounts and things like that. Yes, people are looking to shop big box stores. Everybody's watching their budget, but they also want to support small and local businesses, but they have to know about you, who you are, what you stand for, and you have to make it easy for them to buy from you, or they will take an easier route. Everybody is busy this time of year. Most people aren't waiting until Black Friday or um, Cyber Monday or any of that to start shopping. They're actually shopping earlier. We are seeing over the past several years, we've seen people shift their buying to earlier and earlier in the season, which is why we start to see Black Friday deals in October. I just saw one. Like I said, I'm recording this in October of 2024. I am starting to see Black Friday deals showing up in my feed now, which is wild, but that's the way that it goes. There are also late and last minute shoppers, and those folks really love gift cards. You make it really easy for them. And most online shopping website shopping cart services make gift cards fairly easy. So make sure that you have those in one way or another. And people are also looking for guidance. So creating gift guides, making it really easy, bundling packages that make sense so that it is easier for them to shop, so that it reduces their decision fatigue. It often gives you a higher sale because you're bundling several products and it makes it easier for both of you. And I think that's a fantastic thing. So some quick things about holiday marketing. Let's get into it. So understanding your audience, what are they looking for? Right? These people are looking for gifts, obviously, and they need to understand that you can help them. Think about what you know about your typical holiday shopper and how can you meet their needs as easily and as smoothly as possible while also still meeting your margins. And so in fact, almost none of that what I'm going to talk about today is about discounts. We're not going to talk about discounts other than just like, hey, do you want to have them? But other than that, we're not really talking about discounts because I don't know your margins and I don't want to suggest something that's going to be detrimental to your business. You know your business better than I do. But at the end of the day, how can we make this easier for them? They're stressed, they're overwhelmed. How can we do it easy? So again, I am recording this at the end in October of 2024. These dates will change, but these are also good days to keep in mind if you're watching this after 2024. Make sure that you update these dates. They might be slightly different. You can also find a whole list of holidays down here at the diversityresources.com. Lots of holidays to explore. And then there's also some other holidays to think about that you can maybe incorporate into your marketing that may be helpful and are kind of fun. And again, you can find more of those at daysoftheyear.com. There's so many that you can incorporate. Do you need to incorporate all of them? No, not at all. But it is helpful to understand what others are celebrating, when they're most likely to be shopping, and especially if there are any important dates, especially if you create custom items, because you're going to have different deadlines and you have to be able to communicate to your buyer what your deadlines are. Speaking of deadlines, one of the biggest ones is those domestic shipping deadlines during the holidays. And again, this is for 2024, so check if you're watching this after that. UPS this year is not even telling us. You have to go and enter the addresses, the shipping and delivery address on the website to get an estimate. All of these are subject to change also as we get closer to the holidays. So just be aware that people, obviously, in theory, they start shopping at Black Friday, right? We know that they're not, but let's say that that's a decent starting point, or even now in mid-November. They don't actually have until December 25th to receive their package unless you're a local business and they can do pickup. Because if they're going to get it on time, it's actually 5 or 6 days before that, which means you might have to decide to close your shop even a little bit earlier because you have to package everything and get it into the mail. So I'm a really big fan of working backwards to figure out what those shipping and order cutoff dates are. So think about the last day that you want to ship. Think about when you want to stop taking orders. If you're going to offer free shipping, is there going to be a minimum order? I hope that there is. Shipping is so much more expensive than it used to be. So really think about your margins and what you can afford if you're going to offer free shipping, and you need more shipping supplies, right? Because you don't want to be in the middle of this and then run out of supplies. So make sure that you have everything that you need. If you're going to offer a discount, what promo codes are you going to use? When will they stop working? And if you're going to use promo or discount codes, where are you going to share them? Will they be an email exclusive? Will you share them only on Instagram? How will you do it? How will you track that? And again, if you're going to create any special holiday bundles or packages, this is a really good time to start thinking about what that looks like and how you want to offer that. When we think about what products or services you focus on, it helps you figure out what's going to be the best decision for you, for your margins, for your bandwidth, for your inventory, and for your audience. And the reason that we do a featured product or a featured service, and it's not that you can't sell anything else, it's just choosing what's going to make the most sense for you to focus on, because people are really busy, right? Your business is your biggest focus. It's our baby. I totally get that. But making a purchase for them is just an errand that they have to check off of their list. So if you give them too many choices, they will go somewhere where it is easier and less noisy. People need to see something multiple times. They have to have multiple opportunities to make a purchase because we are so distracted and we have so much going on. People also can't remember everything that you offer. So if you are trying to send them to your homepage to shop, they're not necessarily going to know where to shop, right? You can't promote your entire catalog constantly. So by sticking it to one or two things that you really want to focus on, you make it easier for your buyers. You make it easier for your customers. And we are going to be talking about a lot of social media and a lot of email. I don't want you to panic. Right now, we are kind of just dumping everything out of the box so we can figure out what our ideas are, what's going to work, and the way that you want to go. This is part of the process. It's not time to give up. I just want to throw that in there because you might already be thinking like these are a lot of decisions that you have to make. On the bright side, they are temporary decisions that you only have to stick with them for a couple of months. And then we are into January and it's a whole new year. So when we're talking about email marketing, this is going to be, in most cases, your warmest audience. What we do is we create an email marketing schedule that you can stick to so this piece doesn't get forgotten when you get busy. Because again, it's your warmest audience. So you don't want to neglect them in favor of posting on Instagram, although you also have to do that or wherever else you're showing up. One of the really great things about all of this is that you can write this ahead of time. So you can write your emails once you figure out what you want in them. Once you know what you're going to be promoting, you can write them ahead of time. You can schedule them ahead of time, which will save you time so that you can work on other things, especially as we get busier closer to the holidays. Again, if you're going to offer special discounts or promos to your email list, this is a great time to figure that out. How are you going to communicate shipping deadlines? Like what kind of emails are you going to send around that? And the copy that you use in your email and the copy that you use on your Instagram or your social media, wherever that is, you can tweak it and use it in both places. So don't think that you have to create completely original content for every single place. A really big company can do that. You are probably yourself and maybe one or two employees, maybe a marketing person that you're working with. But it doesn't make sense for you to try to create everything everywhere because you're just not going to have time. So as we are thinking about email, holiday marketing requires more emails. It just does. You can't send a single newsletter on the 5th of December and expect to see the kind of sales that you want to see. You have to promote more often. And yes, this means some people will unsubscribe. But if they unsubscribe because you offered them something that you were trying to sell, they probably weren't a great fit anyway. If you don't tell them about your offers, again, they can't know about it. They're not mind readers. You have to tell them very explicitly several times that you have this for sale. Also, I think we also have to realize that more emails during this time of year is completely normal. And again, it's very temporary, and so it will be okay. When it comes to social media planning, so moving from email to social media, reuse whatever you can from previous years. You can even scroll back if you don't have a bank of content that you reference over and over again. Scroll back to Instagram last year, copy and paste what you can, see if there's any photos or graphics that you use, maybe they're stuck in your Canva, that you can reuse and start figuring out what you can reuse so that you don't have to create it from scratch. Schedule posts where you can. The more that you create and schedule ahead of time, the less you'll have to do later, which will mean that you'll be less stressed and you'll have more focus on more important things. One good thing to think about now is that is your bio in any of your social media platforms, is that accurate? And do all the links in your bio work? And do they go where you want them to go, or do they need to be updated? I'm a really big fan of putting all of your content into a Google Doc or an Airtable or something like that to reuse and repurpose later, because it's searchable. When you do it that way, you can control F and find all of the holiday marketing next year. So it's going to be really easy for you. Really quick, when we're talking about Instagram and Facebook posts, because they're kind of the similar, really good clear photos are really important. This is a really good time to experiment with carousels and adding trending audio to posts to see if that works for your business. So for some businesses, carousels work great. For others, it doesn't. It's something that you're going to need to experiment with. As you are posting more and more for the holidays right now, you might not love the way that your Instagram feed looks, but it's important to remember that people are coming to your Instagram possibly for the first time ever. And so you want them to see what you have to offer. You can always archive those holiday posts after the holidays to tidy up your feed, to bring it back to what you prefer it to look like, if that's something that's important to you. Use hashtags, use geolocation tags, especially if you're a local business. So tag your city, tag your suburb, whatever that is. And don't forget to think about writing the captions from an SEO perspective, meaning you're using the keywords and phrases that somebody might be searching for. So whatever the gift is you have and who it's for and any other details, make sure that those are going in the caption in a really clear and natural way to help people who are searching find you. And at the same time, people aren't necessarily going on to social media just to search. Some are, it depends on, it's a demographic thing. But if they're scrolling and they see something that you have and they're interested in it, we want to make it really easy for them to make the next steps and make a purchase. Instagram stories. I'm a really big fan of Instagram stories. It is a really great way to get in front of the audience that already follows you. So this isn't necessarily a great way to get in front of new people, but is a really great way to stay connected to people who are already following you. Use stickers and GIFs and stories. It livens them up. It keeps it interesting. When somebody interacts with like an interactive sticker, they vote, they ask you a question, doing any of those things, they are showing Instagram that they are interested in your content, which means they will be more likely to see your content in the future. So getting people to interact with your stories is a benefit to you. Stories also don't have to be perfect. Think about more behind the scenes than a perfect aesthetic. I think sometimes it can be tempting to design a really perfect graphic in Canva that is story size. Check your analytics. Again, I don't know your business, but look and see which posts do better. For some businesses, something that is very smooth, very perfect, very aesthetic might still work in stories, but for most businesses, what I find works better is something that's a little bit goofy, a little bit silly, and a little bit more behind the scenes versus perfect. Instagram stories also disappear after 24 hours. So they're a great place to experiment with video if you are wanting to try video with your face on it and talking and you are nervous. Instagram stories is a great way to do that. And this also all applies to Facebook stories as well. You can also add links directly to product pages in stories. Now, I wouldn't make every single story a sales post that links to something to buy. But if you're talking about something and you are sharing a product, it makes sense to add that link to make it easy for somebody to buy. These, again, are going to be shown to people who follow you. Every now and then you will get in front of people who don't follow you for whatever reason. But for the most part, it's going to be people who follow you. Now, when it comes to Reels and TikTok, these are short form video. So I want to keep the video short and to the point, which is editing out any pauses at the beginning or pauses at the end. That's probably the easiest way to edit your videos. Yes, use hashtags here again. They are not as impactful as they used to be, say 5 or 6 years ago, but they do still help categorize content. Batching videos will save you time later. It will mean that you have videos already done and ready to go, especially on those days when the last thing you want to do is create a video. Go for easy. There are some really great transitions and there's some really great editing techniques. The thing is, as a small business owner, do you have time to do that? Because editing typically takes about twice as long as it took you to record it. So if it takes you 3 minutes to record something, it could take 6 to 10 minutes to edit it. And that adds up over time. So just be aware of that. Trending audio is a really great way to help you get in front of new viewers. So don't be afraid of experimenting with that. And this is Reels and TikTok right now are your best opportunity for growth in new audiences. That's just there. All of the platforms are pushing video. Instagram is pushing videos. Instagram has continually told us that Reels are the best way to get in front of new audiences. One of the best things that you can do during your holiday marketing is nurture the people who are already following you on your email list and your followers, etc. But also work really hard to get in front of new people because those are people who are going to be excited to hear about you and to buy from you. I am a really big fan of recording on your phone and then editing either with InShot or iMovie because that lets you upload a clean version that doesn't have a watermark on it to different platforms. So you can use the same video, record it on Reels and on TikTok, or post it on Reels and TikTok. Not every single video is going to be right to post to both places. Again, I don't know your business, so it's hard for me to make these kinds of general kinds of conversations. But generally speaking, a lot of times what you post on Reels can also be uploaded to TikTok. It does not have to be 100% separate. So when it comes to using social media and making sales, it's really important to remember that one post rarely equals one sale. Somebody sees us, maybe they see us a couple times, maybe they see us 3 times, maybe they click on our account to kind of check out what we're doing. Maybe they don't like anything else. They're scrolling, maybe they click on the link from our Instagram or our social media to our website, and maybe they move around there. So this is a process that takes time. So that's why being consistent and continually showing up and having your voice really makes a difference. Using humor, novelty, engagement, and relatability, depending on the platform, is really important because, as you've probably heard, when people are on social media, they want to be informed or entertained or they want to have an experience. So making your account something that gives them an experience that they are excited to have is a good thing. So social media keeps you top visible and top of mind, but it can also be used to get audiences to your website and then ideally to your email list, because anytime we're talking about social media, we don't own that. Our accounts can get banned, they can get hacked, they can just disappear overnight, and all of those followers that we have worked hard to get and all of those conversations that we have worked hard to have could disappear. So that's why I want you to think about getting people to your email list as well. You can also put popular items or collections in your link in bio for the holidays, again, to make it easy to shop, to highlight that they can shop with you and you can make it really easy. Be sparing when you share links on Facebook. They don't get as much reach. The posts don't get as much reach. And then Facebook doesn't really like it very much. So when we are thinking about what your social media calendar looks like, you're going to be posting probably more than you're comfortable with. Because again, if we're thinking that there are 9 weeks between now and the holidays, how many times do you need to be in front of somebody? The more is probably better at this particular time. I don't agree with posting every day just to post at other times of the year, but for the holidays, and you're still not posting every day, don't worry. But I think it's more important to show up more. You're not going to annoy somebody. I think that that's a common thing. And you're not going to annoy somebody because most of the people aren't going to see your posts. So you have to be showing up again and again in different ways to be visible. And if you want to get traction, which is an important thing, you also have to engage with other accounts. If you come to these platforms and you post and you don't engage, you don't do anything else, and you just leave, you're not going to get the same result as if you build community and relationships with other accounts. It's just going to be a better experience for you. So generally speaking, for the holidays, if you can, aim for 3 to 5 posts a week. That is Facebook and the Instagram main feed. Those can be the same post. So you don't have to create separate posts for Instagram and Facebook. But what we want is consistency over time. Reels and TikToks, like I said, we know that this is one of the best ways to get in front of new people. So by creating 2 to 3 videos a week, getting in front of new people is going to be easier because you're putting out content that Instagram will want to share. And 5 to 7 stories per week, which means that you are staying visible in that stories every single day because those disappear after 24 hours. One of the reasons this makes a difference is that some people never look at the main feed of Instagram. They only look at stories. Other people never touch stories. They only look at their feed. And again, this is why planning ahead matters. I don't want you doing this in the moment. You're going to get overwhelmed and not have an idea to post. So when we take time, before we start scheduling, before we start going forward to plan what we want to do, you have a roadmap. You're building yourself a plan. So, popping over to your website really quick. Your website is your home base. This is one of the best places where people can learn more about you. You don't have to change your website for the holidays. You don't have to change all of your graphics. Like, that is a big business thing to do. You do not have time for that. But you could put up a special banner or a notification about holiday shipping, anything that might be helpful to your audience. And then just make sure that you give yourself a reminder to take that down. Because there's always going to be a business in March who still has their Christmas specials up on their website because they forgot to go back and take them down. Again, considering bundling popular products or similar items to make it easier for shoppers. And again, this tends to give you a higher purchase point as well. You can create unique discounts if you're going to do discount codes. I would suggest if you're going to create discount codes and you're going to share them everywhere, I would make one for your email, one for Instagram, one for Facebook, one for wherever else you might share it, even if it's the same amount off. That way you can see which audience actually use those discount codes. Because if you use a generic, save 10 as a 10% off, you don't know where that audience is necessarily using, where the audience is coming from that's using those codes. So by creating like Instagram 10 or Facebook 10 or TikTok 10 or whatever it is, you can track which of your audiences actually moved on that discount if you want to have a discount. Digital gift cards, again, they're pretty easy to create, easy to sell, especially as we get closer to the holidays. Then you can shift to promoting those. Make sure that you're testing those discount codes and set an end date so that one, you know that they work, because there's nothing worse than sending out an email blast and then realizing that the code that you sent everybody doesn't work, or having somebody in 6 months use one of the codes that you thought you had turned off. So that's my thing. So if you have a product business, product pages have to do a lot of work. And a lot of times businesses get as a small business, you're busy, you have a lot of things going on. So you put up the product, you put up the price, you put up a basic description, and you move on. But the product pages are what's helping people decide whether or not they want to make a purchase. So think about, what does your customer really want to know, right? Full and complete descriptions, size, dimensions, the color, show photos of the front and the back, different views, give us an idea of how big it actually is, like next to an object that we recognize. Like we see this like jewelry next to a quarter, right? Like we know how big a quarter is, and then we can figure that out. Too much information, well organized, is better than not enough information. It builds trust, it inspires confidence, it shows that you care about your customer enough and you know your products well enough to put in a really nice description. And then think about how easy you can make checkout. How many clicks does it take for somebody to actually be able to check out? And is there a way that you can make that easier? So, getting into the planning. This first week is really focused on planning and creating. So, let's think about, where do your sales come from? Especially if you can look at sales from last holiday or even the past couple of holidays. Where did your sales come from? What is triggering people to make a purchase? Maybe you have a discount code or a specific bundle that always sells really well. Like, we definitely want to bring that back. Maybe there's certain posts or certain ways that you talk about things that get people excited. We can go and we can figure that out. And then think about which platforms, right? Email, social media, which of these consistently bring you sales? Maybe you're a business where every time you send an email, you get sales. So we definitely want to make sure that we're using that. Maybe posting in stories with a link, or you doing a live video, whatever it is, you know your business better than I do. So think about what has brought you sales in the past. And then knowing this is going to help you decide where we're focusing our attention this year. And the reason that I want you to take time to do this is that it's really easy to go into this holiday planning thing thinking that you have to start from scratch. And what I keep hoping that you will be able to do is reuse content, understand where your sales came from, because we have that data from last year. And then we can build going forward, and it's easier. So holidays are a really interesting time for people shopping because they are looking at places that maybe they wouldn't always look. So you have your email people, you have people who are maybe discovering you and going to your website, but a lot of this is going to be word of mouth, or they meet you, they see you tagged in somebody else's social media, your own social media followers. Maybe there's physical material like business cards or a flyer that you have, and then ads if you're running ads. So there's different ways that people are finding you. One of the things that's really easy to forget is that our websites are our home base, right? But not everybody comes to us from our website. So if we're thinking about our marketing as a house, we want somebody like in the real world, if somebody comes in through the front door, that's on purpose, right? If somebody comes in through the bathroom window, that's weird. If somebody comes in through a skylight, that's weird. But when it comes to your marketing, people are going to come in different ways. And so thinking about what their journey is, how they got there, and what they're looking for once they're inside of your little marketing business house, that's really helpful to think about. So they don't always come in the door that we think they're going to come in, and they don't always use the same entry point every time. So it's important to think about, what is somebody at these different platforms? What do they need to learn more about us? So this is where we're going to talk about the content planning overview. And this is where I hope you are not fainting. The reason that these numbers are so big is because we're multiplying them by 9, right? So if you are, you're seeing this and it's only 3 weeks until the holidays, obviously 18 to 27 posts in 3 weeks is insane. Don't do that. But do your math, right? So if we're talking 9 weeks before the start or before the end of the year, right? We have 18 to 27 opportunities, meaning your feed posts, 3 per week or 2 per week in a reel. We have that many opportunities to talk about what we do in a way that's interesting and engaging. Same for videos, right? If we're doing 2 to 3 videos a week over the course of 9 weeks, that's 18 reels, which sounds like a lot, but I'm gonna walk you through it. So please don't panic. Stories, same thing, but 7 per week, that looks like a lot of stories. It looks like an insane amount of stories. But when you realize that you're doing 1 per day, essentially, right? But 3 of those are recycled from feed posts because you're going to share your feed posts directly into your stories to increase their views. Then that's only 4 posts that you have to think about, and they're not perfect, and they can be off the cuff, and they can be something that you've used before. And then emails, again, this is where it's a lot because we're multiplying it by 9. Basically 1 per week, and then extra as needed, which we'll talk about next. Not next. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I wanted to show you what an Instagram and Facebook post theoretically could look like. Again, these are just kind of a mock-up that I did. If I was doing it for a client, it would look better. It would be a little bit more on brand than this is. Like the colors and the fonts don't necessarily match. But this is 12 posts, and which is basically, what did I say? 12. Yeah, so that's almost all of them, right? Either almost all of them or about half, depending on how you want to do the math. So we could start down here, and we could do a this or that. So asking your audience, like, which one do they prefer? It's a fun way to get people to engage, and they like to give us answers. We could also talk about the products. A quote or a text graphic is I like to think of it as a free space on the bingo card. I just think they're really easy. They tend to get pretty good engagement, and they tend to be kind of fun. Again, depending on your business, I don't know your business. And then you can make different graphics, promoting a holiday schedule, promoting a product. Again, highlighting a product, but in a different way. Because I think if you put this graphic 5 different times, that's not engaging. If you put this graphic and then this graphic and then this graphic, and even if it's all talking about generally the same kind of product, it's more engaging and it's a little bit different. So as we're thinking about this, you can create the list of posts that you need to make and fill in the dates. That is the way that I do it. One of the things I really like to do is write down all of the dates that I want to make posts for, and then just like this on a piece of paper, and then I start filling it in. What do I need to talk about? When do I need to talk about it? What deadlines, right? So the holiday marketing schedule, the holiday shipping schedule is really important to share there. What are the different things that I can fill in? And then I fill in the blank spaces. And then when I am ready to start creating content, I am not trying to figure out what I'm posting on the 11th of November. I know that I'm going to post a this or that. Then I'm figuring out which graphics do I need and what copy do I need. So part of it is already done, which means that past you has done some of the work, which makes it easier going forward. So Instagram and Facebook stories, here are some more ideas. You can screenshot this or write them down. If you sign up for the email where you get the workbook and the slide deck, I also have more stories and more Instagram post ideas for you in the workbook. But all of these, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you could repeat these, right? Repeat these 3 times, and that is 36 stories that you are using over and over. So that is something, like, it doesn't have to be hard. It's just a matter of getting unstuck about the possibilities of what you could post. Reels and TikTok ideas. I know that some of you are definitely never going to want to show up on camera. That's okay. There are options where you don't have to have talking. You don't have to talk at all. You can just use some text on screen. Or if you're more comfortable talking, I gave you some ideas here. And again, I gave you more ideas in the workbook. If you want that, if this gets you going, perfect. If not, there's more resources. So when we're thinking about email, and this is I'm going to show you 5 or 6 series based on the goals of the email. They are not always going to apply to you, and I would not ever recommend sending all of the emails for all of these different series that I'm going to show you, because that would be a lot of emails and it would be really overwhelming. But again, that's a big business thing that we'll see. So if you have a business and it tends to see sales during the holidays or specifically during Thanksgiving, for whatever reason, this is a good set of emails to send. The first one, you say, hey, Thanksgiving is coming up. You promote an offer, and then you mention the shipping or delivery deadlines if that applies. And then about 10 days later, you send another one and you say, hey, Thanksgiving is coming up. Let's order ahead. Again, you're promoting the same thing. November 20th, which is 4 days later, you say, hey, last minute, does anybody else need this? Again, promoting what you're trying to sell. And then November 25th, which Thanksgiving is the 28th, I think, this year. So again, if you're watching this later, it's going to be a little bit different. But that final call, especially if you have an option to pick up, obviously you wouldn't be able to have delivery. And so if you don't have delivery, that email wouldn't work. So that's one thing that you could do for your email or for your Thanksgiving. For Black Friday, this is a series that you could, in theory, send. This is an email series that you could send. So on Black Friday, November 1st, we start, right? Because we're already seeing people promote it. And you say, this is what I'm going to be offering on Black Friday, and then mention shipping and delivery deadlines. The reason that we tell them what's coming is so that they remember and remember to keep you in mind when they are thinking about their Black Friday deals. For November 20th. So again, this is 20 days between this, but we're ramping them up as we get closer because people shop in a very specific way for Black Friday. Like gift ideas related to what you're promoting. Maybe you suggest some things that they could buy. On November 27th, if you wanted to, you could launch the deal early for your email subscribers and then resend it to people who didn't open it on the 28th so that they see it. And then another email that says, hey, the Black Friday deals are live now. For Small Business Saturday, again, the same kind of thing. It is basically each of these emails is saying, hey, this date is coming up. I really want to draw your attention to it. Another email that says this date is coming closer. Like if you're interested in shopping, this is what you need to know. Gift guides, again, making them really easy, giving people ideas, take some of the stress off of them, and they are going to love that. So this is what you could send for a Small Business Saturday email. That's 5 emails over the course of a month, which is going to be probably more than what you're sending, but it makes a lot of sense for the holiday marketing. For Cyber Monday, if that is something that you're going to do, don't have to, but if you do, again, we see this as a shorter email series because it's not as big of a deal traditionally. And if you were doing Cyber Monday, you've probably also done Black Friday, so you don't want to overwhelm them. And then if you just want to do a general December holidays, you don't want to necessarily focus on Black Friday or Cyber Monday or any of those things. This is a general email outline that you can send and on the different days that you can send it, which means that you can sit down and start writing these emails. And that is my hope, is that you have an idea of which emails you want to send. Now you have some ideas, you know which emails you want to send, you start writing them, you start gathering what you need so that by the time we get actually to these days where these emails have to go out, hopefully they're already written and you can be working on other things. So this is where we're kind of going to start building our checklist of what we need. Number 1, what can you reuse from last year? Social media, email copy, old graphics, old flat lays, old videos, anything that you can. If you're planning to reuse things, if you're thinking, I actually do have some things I could reuse, where do they live? How is it organized? One of the best suggestions I have is to make a holiday folder and just put everything in there for easy retrieval. That way you're not scrolling and trying to figure out where everything is in these different places. It's in one folder. It's really easy for you. And then think about what you're going to focus on promoting and how are you going to focus on showing up? Like which platforms are going to be best for you? Photos. Do you need photos? Do you need new photos? Do you need to adjust photos that you have? Where are they? How are you going to access them? And the same with video. Anything that we can do to make your life easier over the next 6 weeks by doing a lot of hard work right in those first couple weeks is going to be good. Words, you're going to need words. You're going to need copy. You're going to need social media posts and emails and maybe like a couple of extra website updates. So think about, and product descriptions. So think about what you need. And don't forget that a lot of this can be reused. And so as you're writing it, even if you're starting from scratch, even if this is your first holiday or you've never saved anything in the past, think about how you can save this for the future because this will make your life so much easier next year. So this is the order that I think things need to happen. First, if you're going to create any promotions or bundles, think about what those are, start putting them together, start pricing them out. If you have any deadlines that you need to be aware of, including shipping, or maybe your shop is closed during certain times, or you have other factors like family time or travel, think about where those fall on your calendar. And I think it's really helpful to actually look at a calendar when you're doing this so that you can start marking off dates and figuring things out. Next, figure out what copy and graphics you're going to need and what can reuse. Your goal here is to have a list of all of the copy of all of the social posts, everything that you want to create so that you can reference that over and over again so that you don't get overwhelmed because I don't want you to be overwhelmed. And one of the things that you can do too is to start a Google Doc or however you want to hold all of this information so that you can come back to it over and over and so that it's in one central place so that it doesn't get lost. Because this isn't going to be done in one day. You can work on it at different times, but being able to pick it up and put it down over and over again is probably going to be the best thing. You can also schedule posts in Meta Business Suite. I also like Metricool, and you can even schedule stories on the free plan. And I know that you can also, I believe, schedule in the Meta Business Suite. Metricool is just a cool platform that I like. If you're feeling stuck and everything feels overwhelming, tackle the easiest posts and the easiest content first. So, if you're going to have a happy Thanksgiving post, if you're going to have a Merry Christmas post, if you're going to have a I appreciate my customers post, if you're going to have a shipping deadlines post, or maybe more than one, start with those and then fill it in. It's kind of like filling in a puzzle piece over time. And then you start putting in filling in the holes as you go. So as we are creating and scheduling this part of the week 2 in theory, or it could be could be doing this on a condensed schedule. The first thing to do is to start by creating next week's content because this kind of kicks the ball down the road a little bit and it gives you time to focus on other things without having to worry about what you have to create right now. So anytime you get stuck, make sure that you have posts a week ahead. If that's not something that you already do, hopefully you do. But I know a lot of small business owners are kind of doing it by the seat of their pants. So if you don't already have posts scheduled out, this is a good time to start doing that. Again, start creating the easiest posts, either because you already have the copy or they're just going to be so easy to create. We're filling in the calendar with the easy things so that when the harder things come, you have time to work on, which is what we're going to work on next. Think about what the scariest, hardest thing is for you. If it's writing emails, I want you to spend time working on that. If it is filming video, I want you to get some video filmed ahead of time. Whatever it is that you're always putting off, after you do this week's content and schedule like the really easy things, I want you to focus on the harder things. The reason that I want you to focus on the harder things instead of trying to save those, number one, you can't put it off. So instead of it becoming a thing that you never got to, it's a thing that you've already addressed right from the beginning. But I also think it's important as we're doing this to acknowledge that some things are going to be hard for you, even if it isn't hard for somebody else. And that's a completely valid way to feel. Some people love making video. Some people really struggle with it. Some people are great at writing and some don't, and they avoid it. And that's okay. Remember that as you're doing these hard things, you have those lists and ideas that you can go back to get unstuck. Think about what makes it hard for you and how you can work with it being hard for you instead of fighting against it. So how can you do it even if it is hard or scary? Also think about what supports you can give yourself to make time to do this harder work. So maybe that is, ordering takeout on the day you film video because that's the reward at the end of the day is you get to have your favorite takeout, right? Or maybe it is delegating more tasks at home. Maybe it is delegating more tasks to an employee. something like that, so that you have the time in your calendar and in your space to work on these harder things. We're doing the hard things now because the closer we get to busy times, the easier it is it's going to be put something off. And I don't want you to put something off. I want you to be able to dig into it. So by week 3, you have done hard things, which is fantastic. You have some copy and things figured out. You have posts and emails and videos hopefully ready for this week. So that gives you space to work on more things. You have those ideas for other posts and emails and content that you need to create. And like I said, you've done some of the harder things because you're awesome like that. So that means that you can focus on other things. So again, focusing a week or 2 weeks ahead, this is crucial to not getting overwhelmed, especially as it's like a ball rolling down the hill, right? Like the closer we get to the holidays, the more chaotic things become. So the more that we get done now, the easier it is later. I also want you to think about what your overall workflow and what your plan is to stay on track, even as we get closer to the holidays and all of those other commitments. I also want you to focus on batching content, whether it's the easy content that you haven't made yet, the hard content that you still need to make, whatever else needs to be done. Whatever we can do to stay ahead of the busy time is going to make sense. So maybe you're going to focus just on social media this week and scheduling all of your social media through the end of the year. Maybe you're going to focus on writing those emails that you know you need to write. Maybe you're going to do more video. Whatever it is, think about how you can do it so that you are getting it done ahead of time. So as we're batching, right? Again, reuse, repurpose, and recycle. Anything that you can do to make it easier for yourself, I am in full support of. If you're taking video or photos, try to have everything ready to go before you start to minimize stopping and starting. This is a really common challenge is you start recording and you're like, oh no, I don't have this. And then I need this. And you kind of burn yourself out just trying to get everything ready. So have your script ready, have all the props, have the lighting, whatever you need set up before you start recording. Another challenge that people have when they are recording content, especially video, is that they feel like they have to change their hair, they have to change their makeup, they have to change their shirt, they have to change their background. At the end of the day, nobody is going to care if you wear the same shirt in 6 videos. They're not going to notice, right? And they're not going to notice if you use the same angles or the same props or the same background. It's okay. The goal here is to get the content done in a way that is going to make you feel good about doing it and in a way that connects with your audience. Sometimes, for some people, setting a timer for like 20 minutes and getting as much done as possible, kind of gamifying it a little bit, is really helpful. For others, that is their idea of a nightmare. So if you are somebody who's going to be stressed by doing that, don't do that. But if you like that idea and it helps you focus and it takes off some of that pressure and you feel that's fun for you, definitely try that. Whatever it is, work in a way that feels good for you and best for you versus the way you've been told you should do it. And there's a lot of people out there, and I'm sure I am occasionally in that voice where they're telling you this is how you should do it, this is how you shouldn't do it. All of this is designed to help you get unstuck. Some of this is going to be really applicable for you, and some of it is not. I really want you to take the things that work for you and leave the things that don't. But I also don't want you to hide because it feels hard. So if you don't want to do video because you don't think it's a good fit for your business, that's a different choice than I don't want to do video because I'm scared to do it. We can work with both things. We can work with both things. So as we get even busier into the holiday season, at this point, hopefully you have posts, emails, and videos for the week. Again, this gives you space to create more. Hopefully we are getting things scheduled as far as email and content and video and all of those things. Again, you're working ahead because you're batching as much as you can and you are figuring out what you need to do and filling in those blank spaces on the calendar. I'd also at this point like you to have an idea of what your time off looks like between now and the end of the year if you haven't done that yet, because burning out is not fun for anybody. So this week we are focusing on creating more content ahead, determining which content still needs to be created. Hopefully at this point, a lot of the content that you need to create is already done. And it's just a matter of figuring out which ones you still need to work on. And then thinking about where you need to work ahead. If you have travel or family obligations at the end of November, for week 4 is usually at the end of November. So thinking about if you know that you are going to be away from being able to do anything for 4 days, obviously scheduling makes a lot of sense, but also recognizing that you need time off is also important. So week 5, we're starting to get ahead. Traditionally, this is right at the beginning of December. So by now, you should have, or I guess this is the end of November. So by now, at this point, you should have all Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, all of those written and published or scheduled so that you don't have to worry about them. At this point, you will also have a slight dread that you will be doing this forever in an endless loop because there is so much more promotion that goes into a holiday marketing than any other time of the year. It's almost like a launch, honestly. I think thinking of it as a launch is really helpful because it is a short burst of time. You're also going to start hating social media and email at this point. Even if you've scheduled things out, it's just an endless slog of creating content, and that's just part of it. So this week we're focusing on creating a list of everything that needs to be done as far as content, copy, emails, and videos. Again, most of this should be done at this point, but having that list of the final things that you need and being able to see how far you've come can be really helpful. At this point, also reaching out to your top 20 or so favorite or frequent buyers to let them know about what you're offering for the season is a really good idea. And this isn't a mass email, unless you have a massive list, at which point you can use your analytics to send it to your best buyers. But if you're a small business and you don't have the automation in place and you know your people, reach out to them individually. And the reason that we're doing this instead of a mass email, which you could also do, but a personal email from you really stands out and it makes you be different than everybody else who is out there. And again, this is working ahead if you can. This is traditionally right when we're going into Thanksgiving. So being able to take it easy for a week, especially when you have other things, is a really good idea. Week 6 is traditionally entering that first week of December. So at this point, pretty much everything should be done, or if not completely done, should be close, which gives you time to focus less on content this week and really enjoy all of the things that you need to start doing for the other holiday parts. You can also know when you're clocking out for some time off. Again, I'm really going to encourage you to have those boundaries. Even during the holiday season, you still need time off. You still need rest. You still need to rejuvenate. And you're definitely going to hate social media and email by now. Anything that's not done, this is the week to do it. This is also a time to start tweaking content that maybe isn't landing with your audience the way that you hoped, because by now you have made enough posts that you have some analytics. You've been posting frequently enough that we can kind of get some data to review. And you can actually start to see, oh, I thought that this kind of post was going to do really well, but it's not. But this other post is doing better. So let me do more of that. So the other benefit too, by working ahead, is we can make these little tweaks. Instead of feeling like your entire holiday marketing is failing, you can just see, look, these are working, these aren't working, let me tweak it. Taking time off when you need it, like those weekends, still matter. Also, this is a good time to resend any Cyber Week emails to people who didn't open them at all. So this is typically the week after Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday, Black Friday. So resending those emails, minus any special discounts, but just letting people know that you're here is a good time to do that. So, and then we're getting into the point where we need to start thinking that we're ahead and we need to celebrate that we're ahead. Because ideally, at this point, everything is written, everything is recorded, everything is scheduled through the end of the season. You're definitely going to hate marketing at this point. I'm not going to take it personally, but you are. You're definitely going to hate marketing. But there's also going to be a glimmer of hope that you're almost through the season, because ideally, everything is written and recorded and scheduled through the end of the season. That's my goal. So if there's not, we got to figure that out. This is also a good time to send a new email to anybody who clicked on something for your Cyber Weeks but didn't actually buy anything. It's a good time to warm them up. It's a good time to reach out to them. And that's something that can be done through your email automation. You can also send a new email to anybody who put something in their shopping cart and didn't complete a purchase. If you have this set up, then this should be automatic. If you don't, it might have to be manual. This is called an abandoned cart email. Hopefully it's something that you have just automatically set up. It's a really great tool. If not, you might have to do it manually. Also, making sure, thinking about any sales opportunities that you may have missed that could be recovered. So maybe somebody reached out to you and you dropped the ball on emailing them back, or maybe somebody reached out to you and they dropped the ball on following up with you. So just making time to really kind of turn over every stone and make sure that you haven't missed any of these holiday sales opportunities. And the reason that you can do this is because you've done all of the hard work of getting all of your content taken care of. So coming into the home stretch, which would be probably mid-December, ideally everything is written. You definitely hate marketing, and you're almost through. You're almost through the season. You're so close. So this week we're going to be focusing on any other random thing that needs to be done, any final reminders or pushes that you may have missed or you want to highlight, or maybe you meant to send an extra email as you are writing your email sequences. This is a good time to do that. Again, making sure that you haven't missed any sales opportunities, making sure that you are showing up as a business that cares about its people and you're going to follow up with them and you're not going to miss them. And this is also a good time to switch how you talk about your marketing from products to gift cards and local pickup opportunities, if that's a thing, because we're getting really close at this point, at this week, to not being able to ship anything and have it get there by the holidays. So then you can shift to digital gift cards to make that easier. So this is week 9.5, which is that last half of December, and thinking about all of the things. So this is the week that you are doing all of your final calls, all of your last dates to ship, really promoting that so that people don't miss it, because you're doing them a favor by reminding them. Again, you're going to hate marketing at this point. You're going to hate everything, but you're almost done. You're almost done. So this is the week, instead of, because everything is already done and you have some space, this is the week that we're going to start thinking about what needs to be taken down and updated at the end of the season. Those are website banners, changing any links in bio, making sure discount codes go inactive after the holidays, all of those things. This is the time we're going to start thinking about closing down the season, even though the season is still in full swing. It's just that you've done all of the hard work and everything is already scheduled and you don't have to worry about it. Again, making sure that you haven't missed any sales opportunities, making sure that you have responded to all of those emails. And then the marketing focus here shifts to gift cards and those last minute buyers. So making it really easy for those last minute shoppers. If you have a brick and mortar business, this is the time to offer products that are already wrapped and ready to walk out the door. That makes it so much easier for them. And then that gets you through the end of the year or the end of the holiday season. But there's some other things that we can think about, right? So let's think about going a little bit deeper. So this is an opportunity. Every single holiday season is an opportunity for new people to find you. And new people will find you through word of mouth, or somebody tagged you in a post and they were really excited, all of those things. So this is a time to think about, after the holidays, what isn't anybody else doing that could help you stand out? What is something that is simple to you, but other people aren't doing? Because that extra piece of information or that extra piece of caring can help turn a single customer that just buys during the holidays into repeat customers. You can look at this as standout packaging. Maybe there's a guide or a resource that you include for your product, or maybe it's on your website that they can access to make it kinder to people who buy from you. And then don't forget, I know we've sent so many emails over the course of these holidays. We've sent so many emails, but don't forget to send a follow-up email after the holidays. This is a good time to ask for reviews. It's a good time to make sure that they got everything that they needed. It's a good time to make sure that they were happy with their purchase. All of these things make you stand out. And it's also a good thing to do in January when it's a little bit slower. So at no point did I talk about ads here. And the reason that I don't talk about ads is that for most small businesses going into the holidays, when they don't have a plan in place, ads don't fix broken systems. And so it can just make things worse. But if you want to do ads, I know some of you are probably running your own ads and maybe you've had really great success with it. This is a good time to think about what ads and ad copy is going to make a good sale for you, like what images people are looking for. If you've never run ads and this is your first time, I generally don't recommend it. But if you're going to do it anyway, be really clear about the offer that you're making and promote one product or service. Don't just send them to your homepage. Make it so easy for them to buy. And remember that people will usually have to see an ad or a promo several times before they act on it. And in fact, most ad people will say that they need a month to run the ad, a month to tweak it, and then you start seeing results by month 3, like depending on who you're talking to. Which means that that's not a good thing to start 6 weeks before the holidays, because you're not going to have enough time to get good data, to get good results on your ads. So if you want to run ads, just remember that it's a longer term solution and it's not an immediate short-term solution unless something is going really great in your business. So we've made it through. You've sent so many emails. You've posted. You've done video that you didn't think you could do. You're really proud of yourself. I am also proud of you. Good job. So what about for next year? How can we prep while we are thinking about the holidays, especially in January? What can we do to make next year even better? So one of the things you can think about is reflecting and planning what worked well this year. Like make these notes while they're still fresh in your mind versus trying to remember in 12 months or in 11 months, because that's a long ways away. Think about what didn't work. What did you try that you thought would work and didn't work? Make the notes. You don't necessarily have to look them until next year, but get it all out of your head. What surprised you about the season? Like, where did buyers come in a new place? Did you get tagged in places? Did you get new traffic from different areas? And then think about what content you can reuse and start and store that for holidays for next year so that you were already 5 steps ahead of where you were this year. And think about what you can do differently last year. Maybe there's some opportunities that you really didn't know about until the last minute. Maybe there were some collaboration opportunities that had you known about them in August, you could have partaken in them, but you didn't have time. Write them down. If there's vending things that you wanted to do and you didn't get a chance, write all of that down so that when you start thinking about your holiday marketing in July next year, not in October, in July, the earlier you can start, the better. Because imagine having 6 months to do this or 4 months instead of 9 weeks. Like it's a big difference. If you want to learn more about me, obviously I'm here on YouTube, but my podcast is called Adventures in Marketing. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts. It's also streamed here on YouTube. And also I have YouTube videos as well. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to gwenmontoya.com. I offer one-on-one coaching and consulting for small business owners who are ready to grow. You can follow me on all of the socials at gmontoyapdx, and I will put the link to get the slide deck so you can have it for yourself, the workbook, and some additional resources, and I will put that in the description for you.